You've spent your entire life being the good girl, the nice person, the one who always says yes. But let's be honest, where has it gotten you? You look around and realize you're living a life that seems to belong to everyone else. Your boss, your parents, your friends, everyone but you. If your life were a movie, this would be the pivotal scene. This is the moment the endless stream of yes, finally, powerfully, turns into a no. This is the story of reclaiming your life and finally living for yourself. So why do we become people pleasers in the first place? For many of us, it's not about being nice. It's a survival tactic we learned a long time ago. This is often linked to what psychologists call the fawn response. It's one of the four main responses to trauma or threat, alongside fight, flight, and freeze. When we were children, perhaps in a home with unpredictable anger, criticism, or emotional neglect, we learned that the safest way to navigate our world was to make ourselves as pleasing and agreeable as possible. By anticipating others' needs and suppressing our own, we avoided conflict and tried to earn love and safety. We became experts at reading the room, not for fun, but for survival. This pattern, once a brilliant coping mechanism, follows us into adulthood, where it's no longer serving us. It becomes an automatic setting, keeping us in a cycle of self-abandonment long after the original threat is gone. The good kid grows up to be the adult who can't say no, still trying to keep the peace in a world that is no longer a war zone. Now, let's talk about what happens when you decide to break this cycle. You take a deep breath, and for the first time, you say no. You say, no, I can't work late tonight. No, I'm not available to help you move this weekend. No, that doesn't work for me. You expect a bit of disappointment, maybe, but what you often get is anger, pure, unfiltered anger. And it's shocking. Why do people get so mad when you start setting boundaries? It's because you're changing the unspoken rules of the relationship. You've taught them, through your actions, that your time, energy, and resources are theirs for the taking. Your yes was their comfort zone. When you say no, you're not just declining a request. You're disrupting the entire system they've grown accustomed to. They're not necessarily angry at you. They're angry at the loss of convenience. They're angry that the free 24/7 emotional and practical support service is suddenly closed. This is the boundary war. It's a test. Pushing back is their attempt to see if you'll fold and go back to the way things were. It feels personal, but it's really about their own discomfort with the new dynamic. They have to adjust to a new version of you, one who has needs and limits. And that adjustment period can be loud and uncomfortable. Underneath every reluctant yes you've ever uttered, there's a hidden emotion bubbling away. Resentment. It's the quiet poison that seeps into your relationships and your soul. Every time you agree to do something you don't want to do, a tiny part of you feels unseen, unheard, and disrespected. You smile on the outside, but inside, you're keeping score. You think, after all I do for them, or don't they see how exhausted I am? This is the resentment trap. It builds up over years, creating a heavy layer of bitterness that suffocates genuine connection. You start to resent the very people you're trying so hard to please. The irony is that people-pleasing, which is meant to make people like you and keep relationships smooth, ends up filling you with a silent anger that drives you apart. This resentment is a giant red flag. It's your inner self screaming that your needs are being ignored. It's the emotional cost of inauthenticity. The anger isn't really at them. It's at yourself for not honoring your own feelings. It's the sound of your own boundaries being crossed over and over again. So, how do we escape this? The answer is a concept that might feel selfish at first: self-prioritization. This isn't about becoming a jerk who doesn't care about anyone. It's about reclaiming your own life. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your identity are your most precious resources, and you get to decide how to spend them. Start small. Say no to one tiny thing this week. Notice the discomfort, but also notice the space it creates. That's your time, your energy, coming back to you. Reclaiming your identity means reconnecting with what you actually want. What do you enjoy? What are your goals? For so long, your identity has been wrapped up in what you do for others. Now it's time to find out who you are when you're not performing for an audience. It's about treating your own appointments with yourself, whether it's reading a book, going for a walk, or just sitting in silence, with the same importance you'd give to a meeting with your boss. This is your justice. It says the act of taking your own life back from the committee of people you let run it for too long. It's the radical, beautiful act of choosing yourself. The path out of people-pleasing isn't easy. It involves uncomfortable conversations and disappointing people who are used to your compliance. But the alternative is to continue living a life that isn't yours, filled with a quiet resentment that eats you from the inside out. You deserve more than that. You deserve to live a life that feels authentic, where your yes is enthusiastic and your no is respected. It's time to stop being the nice person and start being the whole person. A person with needs, desires, and boundaries. That's not selfish. It's essential. If you're struggling with these patterns, please know you're not alone. Therapy and counseling can provide incredible tools and support for setting boundaries and healing the root causes of people-pleasing. If you're feeling overwhelmed, reaching out to a mental health professional or a crisis hotline can be a powerful first step. The journey to self-prioritization is one of the most important you'll ever take. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content on living a more authentic life. We'd love to hear about your journey in the comments below. See you next time.